Today, Microsoft announced that the Xbox Design Lab would now support Elite controllers. And I thought it'd be fun to look through the options with you to see if anything has radically changed, at least for the Elite controller world, or if it is just more of the Xbox Design Lab, which, by the way, isn't a bad thing. The Xbox Design Lab is really, really cool, and I highly recommend it. I've given out Xbox controllers as gifts in the past, and they seem to be highly sought after, which is cool. So keep that in mind. If you're interested, I will post a link to the Xbox Design Lab in the description below. There you can check it out. And I think you could also take your design and kind of advertise it out for other people to see as a potential template for future controllers. So when you log in, it's first going to ask you to start with your body, and there are different colors here. I know that the white Elite controller is something that is slowly making the rounds. They're calling that the core controller, which doesn't come with all of the accessories. So if you're interested in something like that, but you want to customize it a little bit more, you may want to look at this option instead. They also have some other pretty standard colors here. One thing I don't see, though, is I do not see any details like camo effects or stripes or lots of, I probably wouldn't honestly expect marketing with other teams. I'm thinking like football teams or something. That's probably too complicated considering licenses and that sort of thing. But there are a lot of options that Microsoft does sell right now that are available. So why they weren't included in here, I'm not entirely sure. We're gonna go with Velocity Green because I think it looks really, really cool, and I love this color. I've said to all my friends, if I ever do finally buy a Jeep, I'm gonna buy that color. So here you can customize the color on the back, and you can see how much it starts to pop with the various colors. If you want to do something like two-tone and have like green on one side and blue on the other, you can. And it looks like, at least the way that this camera angle is showing, there is just ever so a small amount here. Even when you're looking at the controller, basically dead on, you're going to see a little bit of that color on the bottom. So keep that in mind as well. Next, we get to the bumpers and triggers, and here are some options that we have. This is this whole piece across the top, and you can see that when you pick the color schemes, it looks like it's changing the entire top piece. So I had thought in the past, and maybe I'm incorrect, and please refresh my memory in the comments below. I thought before you could change the back buttons to be a different color. So something that I've always appreciated with a lot of the collector edition controllers that I have is a lot of times they'll do something really cool with one or two of the buttons on the back. Like the Sea of Thieves controller has just like a gold plated right trigger, which I thought was very neat. So here you could change, looks like just the whole thing at the top only. Moving on to the D-pad. Now, I'm not really sure on an Elite controller. I thought all Elite controllers offered the complete replacement of this, so I'm not really sure why this matters so much. No, my Elite controller, you remove this D-pad, and underneath is, on mine, it's actually a blue button, at least on the Halo Master Chief controller. But the D-pad is actually under there, and there is a piece that you can replace if you want it to be the faceted or the cross style. So I'm guessing that option still exists on just standard Elite controllers. This isn't, yes, he doesn't even give you the option. So I guess whichever one you pick. Now, obviously, you could buy an aftermarket kit or something and change it, I assume. But this is, I guess, what you'll be shipping with. Moving over to the Thumbsticks. So they have various, can I zoom in? I can just a little bit here. Looks like they have some, not a lot, but a couple different colors for what they're calling the thumbstick base. And you can see it's that piece right there, not the top part of the thumbstick. I think that's actually a really nice touch. It gives it a little bit more of flair to it if that's something you're interested in. And then you can pick the topper and a separate ring. So the topper is pretty much the actual, not the stick on the side. Again, with a lot of the aftermarket controllers, you can get different colors that are on the side. Like the Gears of War edition has black and red. There's a Halo edition that had blue. Those were only for the Elite Controller Gen 1. I do not believe they work for the Elite Controller Gen 2. So it looks like you're going to be stuck with silver. I'm looking at, again, my Master Chief controller, and it is also silver. But so you're going to get to pick that different color there. And that's, no, I'm sorry. The silver is the silver. What I was talking about is the topper part. So this top part of the ring is all a single color, and you can pick something that pops to you. And then the ring is the piece that goes around on the base, which gives it a little bit more contrast, which is kind of nice. So between, I think, unfortunately, get to change the stick color, not that you'd really see it anyway, but you're getting to pick 3 different color schemes that really pop to make your controller very, very vibrant, which I like. I think you can get some really cool contrast on that. Moving over to the buttons, you have the pretty much standard, Xbox controller set of, the green, the yellow, the blue, and the red. I like the blackout buttons. I don't like taking away from the color of the controller. Like, to me, that just doesn't look right. It looks, I know I'm intentionally picking very colorful things just to show what you could do. I don't think I would buy this personally, but I think that this definitely stands out a little too much. I think that's a much cleaner look. That's definitely a cleaner look depending on your color scheme. So it looks like they've taken that idea to the next level, and they are introducing a slew of various colors now that are, monotone without having those bright colors to remind you that green is A. Like, I think you probably know that by now. So that's a really, really cool option as well. And it looks like you can also toggle these 3 center buttons here, which are the view, the menu, and the share buttons. And it looks like we have a litany of colors to select from there as well, which is really, really cool. And then lastly, for an extra $10, you can customize your controller with an engraved message. So if you wanted to put your handle, you could. You could send it to, happy birthday, I guess. Does it do caps for lowercase? Yes, it does. That's really, really cool. So I like that. I think for $10, honestly, considering you're already so far down the line, I definitely think that that's something to consider. Moving on to the accessories. What kind of accessories do they have? So looks like they are selling this as kind of like the core variant. So if you want to buy a pack of paddles, you can. Let's see, you can get the full Elite package, which gives you everything: paddles, thumbsticks, D-pad, carrying case, charger, and USB cable. But here you can change the colors on the back. So this is what I was talking about before. A lot of the Gen 1 aftermarket effects for the Elite controller allows you to have different engravings and stuff. So I bought the Power A Gears of War paddles on the back, and then I also bought the Halo 5 Guardians paddles pack, which just has different shapes to them. Some of them are not even curved, they're flat. Some of them are fatter on the bottom or the top. Some have different engravings. These are just kind of solid colors, but it's definitely a very nice customization. If you want to buy an extra set of, and I guess this is where I was talking earlier about the 2 different pads. If you want your backup set to be something different, you can. And very similar setup before, you can pick various colors for your sparing. And then if you want a carrying case, you can pick that up. And it looks like you can even customize the color of the carrying case, which is actually really, really neat. And then that will set you back. Well, that's the total kit. That's everything. So that's, wow. Okay. That's quite a bit. I assume if you bought the other one, it came out to a little bit cheaper. So I definitely recommend doing that as opposed to a la carting everything. But here you have a really nice detailed view of a full render of what your controller will look like. You can see they zoom in on different pieces so you can get a flavor for what is interesting to you. A couple things that I feel like are missing, as I said, I'd wished that we were past the point of just these solid colors, particularly for the front design. I think that we can very easily add stripes or a camouflage or just generic patterns, a skull, a triangle, a square. Just think like Halo. I love Halo, but remember back in the old days of Halo, you can kind of like make your own logo with just a list of just kind of generic shapes. I feel like if you give that ability for people to be creative, they will obviously do something cool with it. I also don't see any type of grip textures here, although I have to admit the grip texture that I am currently using right now and the one that is in this set for the Elite Controller Gen 2 is amazing. But the fact that you can't change the grips, I mean, it's just a piece of black plastic. There's no reason they couldn't dye this into a color that you are interested in. I think that's definitely a misstep. And I think it would have been nice also if we could have gotten a little more options in terms of some of the, well, I guess I like the buttons, but I'm thinking more on the sticks, really. I know I'm nitpicking on this silver stick on the side, but I know how they make these things. There's no reason that can't be die cast the way everything else is. But all in all, I mean, it's a pretty cool setup. It's just a lot of money, but I know that a lot of people, myself included, were kind of optimistic on the Elite controller build quality when it first launched. I have had mine now for almost a little over a year, I guess, and it is my daily driver, and I love it. I use it every single day for every single game. I'm playing Overwatch 2 with it. I am playing, obviously, Xbox games. I'm playing Destiny on it with my PC. You name it, I'm using this controller, and I definitely vouch for the quality. I think it's amazing. So if you really want to surprise somebody and you got some money to burn, put together some really, really cool design and then buy it for them and rock out, man. Get them the whole set. That would be a really, really cool gift. I think if somebody ever wanted to send me one of those, that would be really neat. I'd put it in the pile with all the other controllers I have, and I'm sure I'd find a way to work it into rotation. But that's it for today's video. As I said, I'll post a link to all of this in the description below, so check it out. You can actually share your design as well if you're interested. So if you want to sign in, you can share it with me, and I'd like to see your designs in the comments below, or give me some cool ideas or whatever you guys are thinking. That's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.